welcome to this water class. We're going to today be working with the spirals in the body in order to restore some water to our joints, and in particular to the joints that tend to get pretty stiff from what we do in our culture with our smartphones and our laptops and our driving. So we're going to be working head, shoulders, and wrists today to restore some 360-degree movement. The body is built on spirals. Life and nature are built on spirals. So our DNA is in the shape of a sphere, and everything else in the body is too. Our joints are spheres. They're huge arcs and spheres, spiraling, springing creations that allow us to move in space, as two-legged. And our bodies are therefore just a reflection of the way that we as man have learned to build. The arc, for example, that supports doorways and supports bridges, is the most stable structure known to man and to this universe, and you see it repeated over and over and over again. So today we're going to honor the capacity inside of our joints to have that spherical movement by literally moving a few of our key joints in these little spheres. We're going to do some other stuff too, but this is a really subtle practice. It's super gentle, and it's I'm taking parts of what's become, I think, a pretty famous standard series in yoga called the Joint Freeing series. We're taking parts of that and applying it here into our quick hit restorative class. So find a place to sit like I am. You need probably a few pillows, a couple pillows, so that you can get your butt up above your knees to sit comfortably. And then just relax yourself there. Feel the weight of your pelvis. Maybe close your eyes. And let the front of your rib cage relax downward, so you feel the back of the ribs broad, and you feel some length moving from the back of the ribs out through the neck, the back of the head, and the crown of the head. And just come into awareness of your breath as you soften your jaw. And then allow the tongue to rest up against the roof of your mouth and up against the back of your top teeth. So your mouth is closed, but the lower jaw is relaxed and the tongue is lifting up, or is resting in the top of the mouth. And just notice now the sensation of the breath as it moves through the nostrils and down into the esophagus with this intentional position of the tongue. We call this Jalandhara Bandha. Bandha means to bind. It also means fire and integration. So I want to ask you to intend to keep this particular position of the tongue throughout the practice. I'll give you some reminders as we go. This is also the position that babies take with the tongue when they're preparing to eat, because it helps to literally soften the esophagus and digestive system. So you may actually start to feel that sense of softening down the front of the body and the center of the body. As you maintain Jalandhara Bandha, just let the breath move easily in and out of the nose, maybe starting to deepen it, slowing it down just a little bit. So now with the rhythm of the breath, we're going to start to take some very tiny circles with the head. So I'm timing this, and we're going to use the top of the head, the crown of the head, and start to draw circles, very small circles in space. kind of imagine that I have a little pointer light at the very top of my head, and I'm just trying to draw a very small circle with it on the ceiling. So nothing else is moving here. So my shoulders are still, my rib cage and chest are all still. I'm timing this because we're only going to do about 45 seconds in each direction. Because this work of moving the joints in these simple, small circles is really profound. So go ahead now and start to move your head in the opposite direction. Again, just seeing how small you can make this so that it feels really gentle and feels really good. Allowing it to kind of move in the pace or with the pace of your in-breath and your out-breath. So this work has a similar advantage to soft tissue work in helping to free up some mobility. Okay, go ahead and stop that now. So just take a big in-breath and then an exhale. And then we're going to start to just turn the head side to side, just keeping the chin on one plane level. So I'm not moving the chin up or down. I'm just turning it side to side. What this movement does physiologically is it starts to it informs the body that we want to move the joints, and therefore the body kicks the lymphatic system on and starts sending fluid to the joints, lubricating the joints. And that is why you start to maybe feel a little warming sensation. And you'll be surprised when we're done with this, the level of freedom that you feel in the joints. All right, let's go ahead and stop there. Pause the head, come back to center, take a big inhale and a big exhale. And then just begin to move the shoulders, small little circles with the shoulders. So I time this because, like with soft tissue work, in which you really only need about 60 seconds applied to any area where you're doing your soft tissue work, you really only need 60 to 90 seconds of this small little rotational work in the joints to begin to free them up and begin to move water through the joints. All right, reverse your circles with your shoulders now. And just know that you can always pause for a couple seconds if you get tired here. And you can also make the circles even smaller. You can play with the pace, whatever you need to do to make this feel like you can keep moving. So like I said, we really need a very short amount of time to have a very high impact. It may not be, it may not feel super different at first, but once you get up, you start to move around, you'll realize, oh yeah, I feel more free. Maybe a little less pain if you're like me and frequently get a pain in the neck, literally. All right, relax that now. Last little piece here, I'm keeping my clock, my timer so I can see it. Wrists. Very small movement, so I don't want to be moving my elbows and my arms around. I just want to move the wrists. So these wrists get overused and overworked, especially our writing hand, our typing hand. They get flexed in one direction a lot. And our wrists have, though, this beautiful 360-degree movement that they're capable of. We rarely move our wrists or most of our bodies in this way, and That's why our body kind of loses its connection to its capacity to move in this way. And that's why eventually injury happens, arthritis, all of those things. Not saying that this movement is a miracle cure for them, but it can definitely be a preventative, and it can be therapeutic. All right, reverse your motion with the wrists. I do this, I notice how tense my right hand is, how much my thumb wants to be involved, just probably that habitual typing on the texting and typing on the phone. So I really have to work to try to just soften that, and I have to back off and make the circle even smaller sometimes so that I can relax my fingers in this movement. All right, last seconds here, relax that. And then let's come on to our bellies. So you're just gonna lay on your belly and rest your forehead on your hands and bend your right knee out to the side. So the right knee is kind of out at a 90-degree angle out to the side. And then check in that you still are maintaining Jalandhara Bandha in the mouth. And then release the cheek down to the floor. And maybe if you can, turn the head so you're looking over to the left. Now if this is too much on the neck, of course don't do it. Turn the head and look to the right. But if you can look to the left without pain, then stay there, and let's take 5 breaths here. As you breathe, let the front of the body continue to soften, feeling the weight of both sides of the hips as they come down towards the floor. The weight of both sides of the front of the rib cage as they relax down towards the floor. And then after 5 breaths, bring your head back to center by placing your forehead on your hands. Extend the right leg long behind you and then bend the left knee. Now from here again, turn your cheek if you can, turn your head to the right. And if that's too much on the neck, turn it to the left. Jalandhara is still working in the mouth to help soften the front of the body. Take 5 breaths here. Allowing that breath to move into the upper back, down the spine. And as you exhale, allowing both fronts of the hips to soften, relax towards the floor. Allowing both sides of the rib cage to soften and relax down towards the floor. After those 5 breaths, turn your forehead back to the center, bringing the head onto the hands. Extend both legs long behind you now, and then press up onto hands and knees. Come up onto your hands and knees. Spread your knees wide, sit back in a child's pose. And just soften here. And now, if you cannot get your forehead onto the floor and your hips onto your heels because you're too tight in your back, then use your pillow. Put your pillow up on top of your heels and sit on the pillow so that your butt is raised up enough that you can get your forehead on the floor. Okay? Over time, if you keep doing this, you will be able to remove that pillow or put a smaller pillow and eventually work your way down to your heels, hopefully. This is a really hard position for a lot of people in our culture because we've got really tight backs. So be patient and find a way to bring the floor up to you as needed so that you can really let the weight, you need to let the weight of your hips work to draw your low back down, but not in a way that is creating strain or pain. So that's why we use the pillow. So take 3 more breaths here and just allow the breath to move into the space between your shoulder blades. And then as you exhale, feel that front of the chest as it just softens down towards the floor. And then after those 3 breaths, come back onto your hands and knees. Lower yourself down onto your belly as best you can. Once you arrive, bend the right knee so it's out to the side. And we're going to walk up onto the forearms. Continue to breathe here. And as you do so, as you exhale, let your upper back start to round and the lower and the front of the ribs come in together. Feel length in the back of the neck. And to support yourself well here, make sure the elbows are just under the shoulders and both palms are spread wide on the floor. Now on your next inhale, we're going to start to reach the right hand out to the side and take a twist, reaching the fingertips and our eyes up towards the ceiling as much as we can. Use the exhale to come back onto 2 arms. As that last breath moves out, round the upper back. And then inhale, reverse, start to reach, opening the chest, reaching the fingertips towards the floor or ceiling. Eyes go with you. Exhale, come back. Round the upper back. And let's take 2 more of these. As you move with your breath, ensure that you're lifting up out of that left shoulder. Keep pressing the left palm down into the mat so that you're supported in that left shoulder joint. And see about trying to keep the hips heavy here. The legs aren't really doing anything. We're just rotating the rib cage. Last time, as you exhale, round the upper back, finish your breath out, and then lower yourself down onto forehead to hands. Extend the right leg long behind you. Use an exhale to bend the left knee out to the side. And use an inhale to walk up onto your forearms. Come to this side. As you take a couple breaths here, feel the back of the neck long as you round through the upper back. Check in that the shoulders are supporting you right underneath the elbows. And then use your inhale. Start to open the chest, reaching the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Lifting up out of that right shoulder. Exhale, come back. Supporting yourself, rounding the upper back. And then inhale. Start to let the chest lift and open, rotating the rib cage open. Exhale. Spread both palms on the mat. Moving with your breath, soft face. One last movement here. Lift up out of that right shoulder, spread through the palm. Reach with the eyes and the hands. Exhale, soften. Complete your breath, then come down onto your belly. Forehead to hands. And then again, just bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press yourself up. Spread the knees wide. Come down into your child's pose. Just breathing here. Again, using your pillow if you need to. And as you breathe, Really relax the shoulders, relax the hands. Let the breath, as it moves in, move into the space between your shoulder blades and down the spine towards the tailbone. And as you exhale, let the belly soften and release. Let the front of the chest soften and release. Let the hips soften and release. Enjoy this breath and enjoy this connection with gravity. Letting the breath and gravity do the work for you here in this posture to help bring greater mobility into the shoulders, greater length into the back of the spine, greater flexion in the hips. Now use an inhale to come up onto your hands and knees, and then exhale, lower yourself all the way to the floor. And then once you get there, just come onto your back. Now this would be a great place if you have a towel or a blanket with you to place it on top of you. Maybe resting it, the weight of it just on the torso. We're just going to take the last couple moments here in stillness on the back in Shavasana. These may be short little classes, but we will never ever skip Shavasana. So make sure that you're comfortable where you are. Let the arms relax by your side. Just let the legs splay open. Let go of Jalandhara Bandha if you still have that position of the tongue. Just relax the tongue and the jaw, the space behind the eyes, and let the breath move naturally in the body. And let's take these last couple, well, really minutes, 60 seconds of silence. And now just enjoy the sense of the breath moving through the body and the connection of the back of the head and the ribs and the pelvis and the legs and the heels on the floor. Call you back when it's time. And I'll just ask you to practice patience as the mind tries to busy itself. Call it back to the breath. Each time you see yourself whirling, call yourself back to your breath. Turn your lips up and smile. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a nice deep breath in. Take an exhale out. And then roll onto one side of your body and just let yourself be cradled there on your side body. Let yourself slowly start to sit up, pushing your hands and your weight into the floor to come to sitting. So know that the spiraling movement is something that you can do anytime, sitting at a desk, in the car. You can do it with any and all of your joints. I just recommend you start with your head. It's an excellent tool to keep in your toolbox if you suffer from any kind of joint pain. And with that, I leave you, and I hope to see you again for our meditation sometime later this week. Namaste.